tell you who became like that was Paul Stewart when he came to the club. And he was terrible. Him and Tony Coton got together, and I think I used to be the brunt of their jokes. And the worst bit about it was, I knew they were doing it, but they kept such straight faces that I didn't know they were doing it, if you see what I mean. And many a time I think that could have ended up in fisticuffs. Not of a horrible nature, because they were that funny. But they used to do all sorts of things to me and tell me one thing and do another, say this was happening, and I used to sort that out and it wasn't really happening. And there was one time they got all the players together to say they're having a meeting that I weren't allowed to be captain anymore. So we ended up nearly, I remember it was in Ireland, I think, and they said, oh, we're having a meeting about who's going to be captain. And I said, no, I'm captain. Like that. Wow, we want to have a talk about it like that. The pair of them were just at it all the time, but it was just funny how they'd done it. It was never malicious or anything like it. It was just funny. Stefan Schwartz was very good. He was a model professional. When he came to the club, I didn't really know him. We roomed together and we got on really well. I still speak to him now. He knew that you could, if you were lucky, you didn't need to do a lot, if you were lucky. But there aren't many like that. So to get the edge, you have to do a little bit more to take you to that point. And I knew as a player that I had to be as fit as I could be, as strong as I could be, and compete all the time, because that's how I needed to be. And that's why I trained hard. Steph knew the same thing, and he'd done that, and he'd go in the gym like I did, and he'd do work that complemented him as a player, whether it be strength work, conditioning work, you know, whether it be technical work. Probably, when I look at it, there's been a lot of lads here that you would say have worked hard in training. It was the thing of being taken as a big fish in a small pond to a small fish in a big pond and not be able to handle it. And it takes time for people to adjust, and I think if you're a good coach, you recognise that. And I will give credit to my coach at the time, John Silly, he did. And he was great. I mean, I remember once when I used to sneak away from home, to go home, he'd say, right, you're not allowed home this weekend. And I'd go, okay, no problem, to his face. And as soon as the game finished on a Saturday, I was off. No matter what he said, I was gone. And I actually left Coventry once and got home about 8 o'clock in the evening. And I got a train back at, say, 6 o'clock the next morning. So in case he came round the digs and caught me. But he caught me in the end, like, and he pulled me and he went, right, this weekend when you're all meant to be going home, he says, you're all stopping here. He says, weekend's cancelled. And I can imagine how I felt, like, you know, it was like, you know, the lads loved their weekend home. And I can remember the boys on the phone every night to their girlfriends, and now all of a sudden they're not going home because of me. And he pulled me and he just says, right, he says, no, you're not going home this weekend. And I tried to take responsibility for it and stood in front of this big towering bloke, quivering in my boots like. And he went, no, he said, you have to understand, you know, if you do something that affects us all, so we all have to suffer. And he was basically saying to me, it's important you do what's right for the team. And he was correct. He was absolutely spot on, but it was horrific and horrible having to take responsibility for 14 other or 15 other lads not being able to go home because of me being selfish, really. I watched Leeds a lot, and I had the Leeds kit, I had the Billy Bremner number on my socks that you could tug around with your tags. You know, if I went in goal, I was David Harvey. If I played right back, I was Paul David Ree or Paul Maidler. I can't remember who it was now. But I would go Norman Hunt if I was centre back, and we knew them all. Do you see what I mean? Oh, I did at the time. My memory didn't serve me too well now. But that's what you used to do, you know. And I remember as subsequently I got into football, you start slowly but surely meeting all your heroes. And it was lovely, and people go, when I met Norman Hunter, was fantastic for me. I loved him. But he not only was an absolute hard man, he was a very, very good footballer as well. And I was lucky, I met quite a few of them. Alan Clark, I loved him. As we go on again though, I really liked Tony Adams. Again, I know he had his issues in his career that he's dealt with very well, and I think from what's happened to him to where he is now in terms of what he's promoted with the Sporting Chancellery and so on and so forth, I think it's absolutely brilliant. But if you ask me, did I look upon a centre-back where I was playing at the time, he was a winner. He was not only a winner, he organised people, he loved his football. It was just outside of football, he had his issues at that time, and he was superb. And what a captain, what a captain. He knew how to lead his team, and I loved watching him play.